Welcome back to the NFHS Network. And one more game for the road. How about it? A Class D semifinal matchup between Bronxville out of Section 1 and Cold Spring Harbor out of Section 8. Philip Kalani alongside you in the booth with Coach Bevel from the Lemoyne Women's Lacrosse Program. And, Coach, we've seen a lot of good lacrosse today, a lot of really standout talent, especially from some young guns, too.
Yeah, absolutely. All games and all teams today have had some talented freshmen, even some 8th graders we've seen on both sides on the red and white field. So really fun kind of tournament we have here. You've got your senior leaders, but you have a lot of young talent, and the future is bright for all these teams playing today.
And we were talking about it a little bit offline before we got the broadcast started. Talk about the future. Really, the past is what haunts Bronxville. The last 3 times they've been in this tournament, they were the runner-up.
Yeah.
Now, maybe 4th time's the charm, right?
Right. It brings me back to my Cortland days where we went to the Final Four 4 times and never got to that championship game. So Bronxville's had 2 years where they haven't been able to compete in this tournament, and so we'll see where they end up today. I'd be excited if they got the win today, but who knows what's going to happen.
Well, it was 18-1 for them last time out. They scored their first 2 goals in the opening 41 seconds. Wow. So they were hot to get to the semifinal, now trying to continue that against the Cold Spring Harbor Seahawks out of Section 8. The players make their final preparations. Just really glad the weather's held out, you know?
Oh, beautiful weather. Beautiful day for lacrosse. There's a little breeze down there, so we always say this is perfect lacrosse weather. When it's sunny, it's not too hot, there's a little breeze going. I think a few weeks ago when the playoffs were here, it was very, very warm. They were doing water breaks and extra time out, so we haven't had any of that today. It definitely has warmed up a little bit, but what a gorgeous day, a beautiful campus. Obviously my alma mater here, SUNY Cortland, but just the facilities have been top-notch here, and what an experience for these student-athletes to get to come to a campus like this and be able to be on these great fields. And the fans have traveled well today for all teams, so packed stands, beautiful weather, not much more you can ask for.
Well, the Sage is well and truly set for one more semifinal game. Of course, we're going to have all the final matchups for you tomorrow right here on the NFHS Network, but before then, one last game for the road. Bronxville in the blue on the right side of your screen. Cold Spring Harbor in the white tops with the red numbers on the left. Getting ready for that first draw. And, Coach, I know you've been on the other field most of the day, but at least on this field, we haven't seen total dominance from the draw control, save the last game where Manhasset just ran away with it. How important is it to control that midfield game early and often?
So a lot of people say draw wins games, and I think it just depends, though, on the team and the type of players you have. A few weeks back, South Jefferson dominated on the draw circle, but Skinny Atlas was able to walk away with the win. So the draws are certainly important, and in a close game, they really do matter. But I think the athleticism and what you do in response to that possession also matters. If you are losing the draws, are you double teaming hard? Are you trying to get the ball back? Or are you just letting the other team carry it down and transition it? So, it is a huge piece of the game, and I think you will see kind of what happens here. I don't know that we've had dominance on the other side either. We saw a lot, one team would win 2 draws in a row, and then the next team wins 2 in a row. So it's been quite a battle for all of these programs today on the circle.
Kiki Torney is at the C for Bronxville. Will be playing lacrosse next year at Penn. Not the first Ivy League recruit we've seen today. On the other side of things, it looks like Ava Tai, another senior. Just about ready to go from SUNY Cortland, the Class D semifinal. Put 25 more minutes on that clock. The ball is set. Already some battling going on the other end of the circle.
I was just going to say, we're already seeing it.
They're ready to go. Referee, not so much. Now we're officially underway. And it'll be Cold Spring Harbor with the first draw control and the first attack. Working it to GLE, trying to rotate in front. No pass there, resets up top. Megan McLaurin. Quick passing around the 12-meter fan.
Bronxville's in a backer zone, so they're going to be pressuring ball quite a bit, and then they have an extra defender who's going to be that secondary defender, usually around the 8-meter hash, right behind the first defender.
Rotated back, trying to come across the crease, and draws the contact right at GLE. First free position goes the way of the Seahawks. It looks like Ava Teague will be the first to take it. Steps back up top to reset. No shot clock in high school women's lacrosse, so they will take their time to find the perfect shooting opportunity. Quick passing around the perimeter. Nobody making a run inside just yet.
So key to beating a backer is quick ball movement, which Cold Spring Harbors is doing, and you find a nice look right there.
Fair enough. Open the scoring with that quick ball movement, courtesy of Kelly Callahan, the freshman on the board first. And the Seahawks draw first blood.
Talked about young talent. There you go. Freshman starting it off for Cold Spring Harbor.
And that quick ball movement, just the speed out of the gate. We've both seen a lot of lacrosse today, but for me, that really stands out just in terms of the pace, not only just how fast they're playing the ball, but the consistency on the passing and the fielding as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some programs that we've seen that just their stick work is at a whole new level. The sticks have developed. I mentioned this earlier in a broadcast on one of the games, but just from when I played in high school, this is not how we played. It was not this fast. Everyone's sticks were not as good as all these players are. So it's been really fun to just see the development and growth of the sport of lacrosse and to see how talented these players are.
Well, one kind of recent development Coach Van from SUNY Cortland and I were talking about in the last couple games was players from the 8-meter arc taking one step and winding up, a la Charlotte North, the attackers of the modern game. They're really just trying to grip it and rip it from distance.
Yep, absolutely. And they're stronger. They're playing, they're playing at younger ages and they're working out a little bit more. So we see that happening more and more in high school.
Alley-oop inside, draws contact on the doorstep, and another free position this time for the Broncos. In the pocket of Megan Krasinski. Will be playing lacrosse at Bucknell next year. Stares down Maya Soskin in the cage. One step, one shot, one goal, and a 1-1 game.
You manifested that one. That was a great shot. I just think the goalie just really didn't know where that one was going because she hit it well. She pulled her arms back and was able to find the top corner there. Quick 1-1 game, and we're not even really a full 4 or 5 minutes into this game yet.
Back and forth already. Bronxville with a point to prove. Come up empty in their last 3 trips to state championship weekend. Every time getting to that final and every time coming up a little bit short, including an overtime loss. All the way back in 2017. There was no tournament in 2020 or 2021. So 2017, 18, 19, 0 for 3. And now a 1-1 game against Cold Spring Harbor out of Section 8.
Great draw win, one-handed. Beautiful pickup there.
Excellent reach.
A great check. Yeah.
That'll go the other way. Back and forth at midfield.
We just talked about the draw control, so that was a great win by Bronxville, but Cold Spring Harbor pressured, and they found a back check, and so now they're going down and playing offense first. So draws are certainly important, but, you've got to transition that ball and get it to your offensive end. That's really a draw win once you clear that ball down.
McGloin up top. A lot of rotation on the weak side of the ball. Back with McGloin. A lot of activity going on around the crease. Just waiting for a pass inside.
Yeah, so the one thing that Cold Spring Harbor needs to do, they do need to change the point of attack a little bit. They're just swinging it around the top of the 12 there, so the slides are a lot easier for the defense, and that's why you see now they're sending that pressure out. But, you know, I talked about ball movement earlier. Great job by Bronxville's defense there. They got Cold Spring Harbor to do exactly what they wanted them to do, so they did a good job dictating right there and caused a turnover.
Amelia Bentley on the wild pass for the Seahawks. And Broncos ball. Crossing the red line. Moving things forward now. Grace Murphy.
Great stop.
Big save.
Yep, so anytime you come around the cage, you want to change levels of your shot. The attacker there came around high and shot it high, so it's an easy save for a goalie.
Having a little trouble in transition, forced to play back first. Now Laffey steps up. Surveys her options. Charging down the near side alley. Crosses over into that attacking third. Has a pass on the near side with Kelly Callahan. Forced almost to the boundary. And a poor pass inside is dropped. And a check upstairs means it's Bronco ball.
Bronxville's doing a great job. They're sending early pressure. They're causing turnovers. Cold Spring Harbor's just got to take a deep breath. They've got to try to run out of some of this pressure instead of trying to pass it through two defenders' sticks.
That's what Molly Krasinski is trying to do against the grain. Great catch behind her in transition to flip that over to Kiki Torney. One-on-one with the jab step, goes inside. The pass on the doorstep, the alley-oop, saved low. An excellent stop, but infraction on the play.
I think we're going to get a crease violation.
That's what it looks like. As the Broncos back off, it'll be Seahawks ball. Or no, will it be a free position? What's the call here, Coach?
I'm still trying to figure it out.
So Megan Krasinski's got the rock, and she's retreated on the far side of GLE, a little bit behind it on that black line with the red dot.
So I'm not 100% sure. It could have been in a defender maybe in the crease, and that's why it went out there. Not sure why it went back to the dot there.
Either way, Bronxville still have a chance to grab the lead. Krasinski, the jab step rolling to her right. A pass inside, and another violation called.
It's going to be a shooting space call, so this will put her on the first inside hash. We'll see if she goes righty or lefty here. It's a little bit of a tougher angle for a righty attacker, especially if your goalie's a righty. There's not much. She does switch it over to her left hand, which I think is a good idea. And they're stacking players opposite ball. They may look to feed this into a player cutting inside the 8-meter.
Krasinski 1 for 1 in the free position. She does look for that feed in towards her sister. And all the way through, Megan Krasinski to Molly Krasinski. Not quite on the same wavelength, but still, Broncos maintain possession. Here comes another pass inside. This one doesn't have the same result.
Bronxville's getting the looks they want inside. They're sending their cutters through. They're getting their hands free. They just have to catch first. They're kind of moving a little bit too quick here. We say a lot in lacrosse, be quick, but don't hurry. It feels like they're trying to hurry everything. So they're going to, if they continue to get those looks, they just have to catch it, take a breath, take a second, and then they can finish that shot.
Rotating all the way around. That quick passing again at the top of the key, going back and forth. Kelly Callahan can't find something inside on the first time of asking. On the second, she does, and the quick flip finds the top shelf.
And exactly what Cold Spring Harbor did right there, that's what Bronxville needs to do. So find the looks inside, and then make sure you take that extra second to finish the shot.
2-1 Cold Springs. You're watching the NFHS Network.
At Price Chopper and Market 32, we want to help you shop smart to get the best quality and value for you and your family. That's why we created
More Ways to Save.
Just Use Your Advantage Card to save your way with weekly specials, price chops, lowdowns, stock-up savings, fair to compare, and Advantage rewards. Now that's smart shopping. More ways to save at Price Chopper and Market 32.
2-1 in favor of Cold Spring Harbor. Solid passing sequence on the doorstep. Finds the back of the net and retakes the lead for the Seahawks. Been a back and forth first half, and contrasting a very high-scoring game. It's 20-10 just a little bit ago on this field. 3 goals to be had in just about 10 minutes of the first half. As another draw violation means we'll re-rack and go again. This one gets away, but a false start is called. That one goes against Kiki Torney, and it's Seahawks ball. Up top for Ty. Kiernan is slicing through that defense right in the center hash. Broncos trying to hold up the play. Instead, Van Son is trying to go herself. A defender goes down, and it's an offensive charge.
Yeah, that's a great defensive slide there. Offensive player lost control of her body, and Bronxville comes up with the cause turnover there.
Trying to settle in on offense. Make this a 2-2 game once again. Behind the cage at X. One run in front is there. And Molly Krasinski just couldn't haul it in with her toes on the line. The second opportunity is put home.
Great ground ball pick up. We call that as garbage goals. So ball got knocked down a couple times, and Bronxville's able to capitalize on that 50-50 ground ball.
Well, they all count. And in a state semifinal, doesn't really matter how they go in.
Mm-hmm.
Even Stevens at 2 apiece. Bridget Finley on the goal. Back to midfield. Another draw control. Been pretty even so far on either side of the coin. Couple of referee interventions. No real dominance from midfield yet. And again, players not content to stay still on the outside of that circle.
They can move around a little bit. They don't have to be still.
And that's why you move around. McGloin in the perfect position to pick that one up and charge right back down the other way. Now this is a little bit of a defensive formation that at least we haven't seen today on this field. The Broncos not really hugging that 8-meter arc as tightly as we've seen some of the other teams. What are they doing here?
Yeah, so I think they're still in this zone. So they have a backer, which right now it looks like number 9. She's either picking up cutters or she's what we call backing the defenders. So she's there where the first defender, if she gets beat, that second defender is there for that slide. Again, Cold Spring Harbor, the way to break a zone is to move the ball quick, right, and keep it going in the same direction over and over and over. And they do a nice job of it there. They move it around, and then you find that inside cut. That's usually how you score against the zone.
Hannah Van Son, once again, striking gold. 3 goals for the Seahawks. As we'll throw it to a break real quick. You're watching the NFHS Network. Hotly contested so far through 10 minutes and change, but Bronxville have been unable to take a lead away from Cold Spring Harbor.
And one thing to note is both teams are opting to keep an extra defender behind the restraining line. So I don't think we'll see a lot of fast break off the draw because there's that extra defender there. We've had a lot of infractions and different things called on the draw circle, but I don't think we'll see a ton of fast breaks off the draw. Usually that means there's an attacker either on the circle or taking the draw, so you hold your extra midfielder back behind the restraining line in the defensive end.
Krasinski making a cut. Instead goes up top to Torney, who was winding up for one. That's probably going to be a shooting space violation.
Yes, it is. You're learning well. I love this. I love when people start learning women's lacrosse rules. So the defender was in the shooter's path to cage. She couldn't take an open shot there, so it's going to be a shooting space call.
Don't see that too often doing Lemoyne games, but.
No, we should see it more probably.
Kiki Torney's turn at the arc. Going to go for the shot way up top, but still smart to put one player on the boundary and keep possession.
I think defender got a piece of that, so great crash.
A lot of movement at the top of that arc. No one cutting in on the doorstep. Trying to go around herself from the far side of close to finding one. Got a piece of it on the line.
So in high school girls lacrosse, defenders can't go through the goal circle area, so you'll see them going around the top or the sides of it, which is different than the college game. So attackers can be a little bit more sneaky and deceptive coming from behind goal line extended up around the cage and trying to beat their defenders one-on-one.
And every white shirt really hugging that red line. Much more spaced out for the Broncos. And with no shot clock, they're taking their time. Working it around. Krasinski is there. To her sister Molly. Going to drive in with the jab step to her right shoulder. Passes behind to X. Thought about the wraparound. Instead has to wait to reset. 1, 2, 3 players making a run inside.
Yep, and we've got a crease violation, so just as I talked about, I guess I manifested this one. That defender took a step in the crease, which isn't the worst thing because now the ball goes to the dot. The player has to go behind. It gives your defense a chance to kind of settle. So as long as you can make the slide, it's not the worst, foul, I guess, to have.
Krasinski up top. Dishes for the pass inside. The low shot saved well.
It's a beautiful save. Cold Spring Harbor's got to come up with those 50-50 balls inside the 8-meter arc, though. They're giving Bronxville second chance opportunities, and their goalie's doing a great job making saves. Her defense needs to reward that and get it out of the 8.
Molly Krasinski Inside, that one way up high.
Yep, that's going to be a push. Good look inside. Bronxville's, again, being very successful feeding inside, but we've taken a lot of free position shots already this game. So Cold Spring Harbor is going to have to clean it up, stop fouling as much, try to limit their opportunities.
Krasinski, one shot in the fire low and down to save it. Maya Soskin took a little bit of a shot on the knee there, but popped right back up. That one can't feel good.
Yeah, goalies don't have too much padding or anything going on, so she'll probably have bruise later, but it's a state championship semifinal game. She's going to stay in there and stay tough.
Right, it's a mark of pride, right?
Absolutely.
1-2 on the
Wow.
doorstep. Torney somehow not able to come up with it and stepped inside the crease as she did it.
Excellent save there, and finally Cold Spring Harbor, you know, a lot of these shots have been kind of bouncing off the goalie's stick and going back in the 8, and their defenders this time were able to come away with it. So great job adjusting by Cold Spring Harbor there.
Soskin pumped up after that one. The Seahawks trying to turn it into something offensively positive. Low pass grabbed well by Callahan. Up top for Van Son. The tie.
So Cold Spring Harbor's setting up someone inside the 8-meter, and while they look wide open, because Bronxville's in that backer zone, it's actually really difficult for the ball carrier to feed it in. So Bronxville is doing a great job defensively. Cold Spring Harbor, you know, just had a great defensive stop. I think we're gonna be in a defensive battle today.
Well, it was a 4-2 half a little bit earlier today in one of the Class B semifinals. Just all defensive lacrosse.
Great ride.
Up to Torney. Carrying it on GLE on the near side. 2 runners crash. Neither of them get it. Intended for Megan Krasinski. Instead, it's once again Maya Soskin getting things started with the big spoon.
And Bronxville's just kind of having their way with Cold Spring Harbor's defense, so we'll see what adjustments they make for the last 9 minutes of the game, but they are getting looks that they want. They're at least getting those feeds inside, so they just have to capitalize on these feeds and make sure they're catching first. I mentioned that earlier. Credit to Cold Spring Harbor's defense, though, for making them kind of panic inside the 8, and they're dropping that ball.
Speaking of adjustment, seems a lot more relaxed compared to the opening couple minutes for Cold Spring on offense. More methodical passing, but of course not without their occasional errors, and now turnover for the Broncos.
Yeah, I think we had an offsides call. I think Cold Spring Harbor went offside, so we'll see if Bronxville settles it at all. It has been a pretty up-tempo game, but we'll see if Bronxville looks to settle it and try to capitalize on one of these feeds in the middle.
Linnea, head shoal away from trouble. Back to the point woman. The midfielders and the attackers kind of get set well away from the ball. Gives plenty of room for Krasinski. Williams wants it and gets it. 2 players inside the arc, trying to draw some space. Krasinski again. Good feed inside. Back up top. Needs the shot. Hounded right on the boundary.
Really great defense there.
Krasinski going in on her left. Beautiful pass behind the back, and that's how you do it. Tie game. Bronxville make it 3-3 with a lovely teamwork goal.
I mean, what a beautiful shot. That's we're in playoff lacrosse, and players are shooting behind the backs and Twizzlers, so it just is so much fun to watch. I mentioned this earlier, the growth of the sport and what players are able to do with their sticks and the confidence that players play with, because that to do that in high school is pretty special.
How about the creativity on that one? I want to say it was Gemma Adonisio who had a behind-the-back goal.
Yep.
Many moons ago. And the work that she does coming from behind GLE to back in front is just superb. Seeing a lot of that really solid ball movement today as well. Just speaks to the quality of the play we've seen so far here at SUNY Cortland this weekend. And it's so unfortunate that one of the teams has to go home. All to play for with 7 minutes to go in the first half. Class D final on the line. Plenty of space on the far side if anyone wants it. That's where the ball will go. Another feed inside. A quick shot on the turn. Looks like it got a piece of a pipe there.
Cold Spring Harbor's got to do a little bit better job getting in front of their cutters. I just feel like Bronxville is hitting every open stick. So Cold Spring Harbor needs to get a stick at least in front of their girls. Try to knock down some of these feeds inside.
Here comes Molly Krasinski at the center hash. Starts the weave. Torney with it. Elects to keep it. Goes inside the arc and draws the foul.
Yeah, we might go all the way back to center hash here. Their center, second inside. There was an extension of the arms by the defender, so we're going to get a free position shot here by Bronxville.
Not a bad spot to be for a right-handed shooter. Kiki Torney missed a free position earlier, trying to take the first lead of the afternoon for the Broncos, and she does.
That's a great shot. Fake tie, shot it low. Really tough for a goalie to save that off the 8-meter.
Find that bottom corner opposite stick side. Not much you can do about that. And Bronxville, you have to say, have a well-deserved lead for the first time in this game. 4-3 in favor of the Broncos with 6 on the clock.
So Bronxville scored a goal, 1 draw, so this could be a big momentum draw here if Bronxville wins it.
Ava Ty trying to get things going again for the Seahawks at midfield. Still not happy with how the ball is placed. Now we are. And another low draw control. Breaking at pace is Krasinski.
I'm surprised that one wasn't a redraw, but we'll play it.
A lot of those draw controls have gone pretty low today, which is pretty stark contrast for usual, though.
Yeah, I think we see some players. Whoa, nice goal. Using some draw sticks, so that might be changing up where the draw is going. But again, a beautiful feed inside. I mean, I keep saying it. Bronxville is just having their way. They're fast and speedy, and their sticks are open inside, and they're starting to capitalize now. They're starting to catch those feeds inside, take that extra second. They're finding the back of the net.
And Megan Krasinski has scored a couple, and now her sister Molly, the senior midfield twins for the Broncos, both on the score sheet in the first half. A 3-0 run now for Bronxville. Haven't been on top of the pack since 2014.
Yeah, that's definitely early.
The official seems to agree. False start, Broncos ball. Over to the near side alley. Players waiting patiently at the top of the 8. Look at the movement from all those blue shirts, just creating havoc. Who will the pass find? It'll find Kiki Torney.
Another great feed inside. So we'll see if Cold Spring Harbor tries to throw a little bit more pressure on ball. I think that it's pretty easy right now for the feeders. They're keeping a little bit too much distance there. So I think we got to send some better ball pressure. And then, again, get those sticks in front. I think, now we can look, too. We know what they're doing. So Cold Spring Harbor's got to look to anticipate and try to maybe jump in front or get that stick in that passing lane now.
And now the Broncos have really hit their stride on offense. Saw a lot of really good defensive stops that just wasn't translating at the other end of the field. Now finally starting to fire on all cylinders. They want that revenge. 0 for 3 in their last trips to the big dance. First, they got to get past Cold Spring Harbor and have put a solid effort in the tail end of this first half. Krasinski wants another. Won't get it just yet. Back up top. Moving behind GLE. Everybody queuing up. Waiting for that barrage of Bronco Blue. Instead, going to work things back around the fan. Krasinski thought about leaving it. Finds his sister Megan. Going to her right. Going low and bouncing it just wide of the frame. That wasn't too far away.
And not bad. She had her hands free, so I don't hate that take. I think she had some room to maybe get a little bit better angle.
Pass inside for Torney. Weathers the contact upstairs. Another quick pass inside. How about the reactions from Soskin on the line?
I mean, I thought that was I thought that was a goal. So beautiful save there. I believe we had another crease violation. I don't know what's going on down there on this side of the field, but people keep stepping in the crease.
The freshman doing all she can to stop the bleeding for the Seahawks, who now get a chance to play offense for the first time in quite a while. Angelina Pavlakis over to Callahan. Rotating back in front. The whistle sounded and players looked confused for a second.
I think we had another offsides call.
Wow. I was going to say it wasn't the official on the near side. And one referee is pointing in the way of Bronxville. And a lot of the players have backed off. I think that's what's going to be.
I think they're going to send the number 8 behind. I think that's what it is. Yeah, so Cold Spring Harbor's got to get on the same page. They just had to work really hard. They made a great stop. They worked hard to get it down. They were getting pressured, but they've got to communicate and understand who's holding back behind that restraining line.
Nice pass to break things up in midfield. Doing a lot of work in between those 30s. Translates into those quick passes in front. Another stop up high.
That should be another crease violation.
And Soskin, doesn't even matter where the attackers are, even if they're inbounds or not. She's stopping all of them. Pass too high. Pavlakis couldn't haul it in. But Ty is there on the ground ball to keep things going on offense for the Seahawks.
So this is where White just needs to get big, get everybody a touch. They haven't been on offense, like you mentioned, in quite some time. So just settle in a little bit. There's no rush here.
Ty, dump inside. Donahue puts it away. And High steps it to a 2-goal advantage now for the Broncos.
That is a good find. That was a great cut inside, little sneaky kind of backdoor cut, and a nice lefty finish on the inside there. But we're going right back to a draw, and we've got 2:39 left, so we'll see if either of these teams, once they get possession, if they opt to work the clock a little bit or if they just keep going at tempo.
So it really hadn't been – it had been a long time since the Seahawks got to do anything offensively. And the last time they were up there was a lot of slow, methodical movement, just waiting to switch that point of attack. And then this time around it was – what was finding that success earlier in the game, just the quick passing, lightning speed, and it's really hard to keep up with that when it's that concise.
I love it. I think we've seen – this is definitely the game. I've seen the most assists happen so far. Seen a lot of isolation drives today with a lot of different programs, but both of these teams are feeding that ball inside, and they're successful because of it.
2.5 minutes to go in the opening half. 6-4 in favor of Bronxville. The draw control is batted down right into the pocket of Ty. He's going to start another attack. Callahan tried to weather the challenge but dropped the ball in the process. More solid physical play from Bronxville.
And that was just kind of a forced in. Again, there's no shot clock. Time is running down. just pull that out. Wait for all of your players to get down and settle the ball a little bit.
The Broncos now, their turn to settle it on offense. Bunch of players lining up on the far side of the arc. Breaking out into a little bit more space as Krasinski starts motion. The sidewinder, and Soskin got a piece of it again.
Soskin's just reading the ball really well right now.
Back behind Cage, looking for another run in front. Quick pass, got a piece of it.
Yep, and there was a stick in the lane that time, so I've talked about that a little bit. Really important. When the ball is behind Cage, they can't score. So it's really rare that someone takes a shot below GLE. But all they're going to do is dodge or feed. So you've got to have your stick up in a passing lane, try to get a piece of it.
And you see how spaced out now Bronxville is compared to just 15 seconds ago. What makes that difference between now's the time to make those penetrating runs versus let's reset?
Yeah, well, I think they kind of missed their opportunity. Defenders started to pick up what they were doing, and now we're down to a minute on the clock here. So Bronxville doesn't want to go play defense again, so now they're going to look to probably start their attack, I'd say another 10 seconds or so. They're really going to look to get going here.
Krasinski thought about it. Instead, back up to the center hash. Wants it back. Instead, it's intended for Torney inside, and the pass is dropped and scooped up by Maya Soskin.
And that's been the challenge all day is teams that have a lead, if they slow down and try to use the clock, that's the time where they start playing slower and then mistakes happen. So there's a balance, and I think it's just tough at that high school level to really figure out when do I need to go really fast and how do I play fast but also be patient.
Megan McGloin showing her pace in transition, but they got to go fast. 10 seconds on the clock to get a shot off. Ty's trying to do it all herself.
Faced.
High school sports fans, relive your favorite moments. Just click the shopping cart below the video player to get your digital copy today. High school sports fans, relive your favorite moments. Just click the shopping cart below the video player to get your digital copy today.
At Price Chopper and Market 32, we want to help you shop smart to get the best quality and value for you and your family. That's why we created
More ways to save.
Just Use Your Advantage Card to Save your way with weekly specials, price chops, lowdowns, stock-up savings, fair to compare, and Advantage rewards. Now that's smart shopping. More ways to save at Price Chopper and Market 32.
The way we talk to boys can determine how they act as men.
Boys don't cry.
Even without meaning to, we can create shame around a natural response.
Well, it's the Broncos that get the better draw, courtesy of Caroline Urcha, who will be the other Bronxville player at Penn next year. Another dump inside and another kick save and a beauty.
I mean, Soskin is like a magnet to that ball right now. She is on fire. She is certainly keeping Cold Spring Harbor in this game.
I mean, how many times, especially just the specialization and the reflexes right on the crease. Impeccable. Here comes Torney. Thought about the sidewinder and gets it to go. How about that from Kiki Torney?
And that was a great move. She was looking for the shooting space call. The defender didn't really commit fully. She was inside the 8, still had her hands free, and she gets a shot off. Really tough angle there, too. So can only keep shooting at a goalie so many times, and one's going to go past them eventually. So Cold Spring Harbor's defense has to lock up a little bit more, get on Bronxville's players' hands, or at least match their sticks is the big thing that we say. So they've got to get a little bit physical in there, but we know you can score a goal in about 10 seconds. So both teams are athletic enough to do it. Whoever's going to win this next draw will carry a little bit momentum with them.
Well, it took 41 seconds to find the breakthrough for Bronxville. They actually scored 2 in that exact same tie frame in their last outing to start that 18-1 clobbering. We go back again to the draw. This one takes a little bit less time to set up, but goes the other way. Seahawks and Ava Ty. How many times have we said her name in transition?
Ty had great reach there.
So now Cold Spring Harbor trying to settle in. Battled to get a couple early leads in this game and have been trailing for quite some time. Up top for Bentley. Over to Van Son. Pass inside is spilled right at the goal mouth. And a great spin move to carry it away from danger by Anna Becker.
And they had the open cut. Oh, errant pass by the goalie. She's able to keep it in bounds.
All about that recovery, right?
Absolutely.
That one looked dangerous from up here.
Call that a whiff.
Back with Becker, the more reliable stick maybe on defense.
And so Cold Spring Harbor had the look in there. They just put a little bit too much on that pass. It's got to be, we call them touch passes. If you're feeding it inside the 8-meter, it has to be a touch pass. It's got to be right on your teammate's stick. It's got to go where your teammate's going and just be really perfect, because there's not a lot of time or space to do much of anything right on top of the crease there.
Everybody on the weak side of the ball, except for the carrier, Catherine Berkery.
Great defense.
Krasinski couldn't wind up in time. 3 defenders on her, finds her sister way up top with plenty of space. Gonna go for it, and not quite finding the frame. Wasn't too far off.
Yeah, and her hands were free, so good look. I did think she had to open teammate down for a one more pass down low, but it's on that lefty side there. So, you know, if you don't have a true lefty down there, it could be a little bit nerve-wracking.
Back for Krasinski. Another touch pass inside. And Berkery's found the back of the net to make it 8-4.
Yeah, that was a great cut and finish. Again, I talked about those touch passes. That's a beautiful example right there. And then 22 just takes that extra second to look at the cage, and she finds where the goalie isn't. And so many players don't do that. They don't come around the cage and actually look before they shoot it. So great job by 22 there. Cold Spring Harbor just didn't adjust quick enough. They set a triple team, I think, to the ball, and then they didn't have those second slides ready. So we'll see if they can make that adjustment moving forward.
The Broncos have doubled up on the Seahawks in the opening 3 minutes of the second half. And the Bronxville faithful making their case heard. They want redemption. They want to go back to that title game and repeat their success from all the way back in 2014. But first, they're going to have to defend against the draw control. Van Son with it. He's got a little bit of room in front of her, instead elects for the pass on her right shoulder.
Yeah, so Bronxville had that extra defender back I mentioned in the first half. Both teams were keeping a midfielder back. Great pickoff by the Bronxville goalie there.
Excellent interception by Shinsato, who will, and as much as this hurts to say as a Syracuse fan, will be playing at Georgetown next year.
Great stick.
Seahawks gave it away, and they've won it right back on the near side alley with Jillian Will. The tie. Dropped it once, twice, maybe 3 times, but able to get it back in her stick. Good move.
Yeah, Cold Spring just needs to settle. I think they need to get everybody a touch. They've kind of rushed their offense the last few trips down, so just spread it out, make the defense really work here.
A lot of poor passing going on, too, with not a lot of pressure on. Van Son going back to what she does best, which is running at the defender and draws a foul while doing it. Bentley with plenty of time and space. Going to try and switch for the shot. Instead, one more low. All the way back to the other side, switching that point of attack. Talked about it in the first half. Here comes Bentley. A low shot won't get through.
Great save. Great ground ball to spark this transition as well.
Amy Villanueva on the ground ball. Dumps it up to Kiki Torney, breaking at speed.
Great check.
Excellent play by Angelina Pavlakis to just poke it away right in the nick of time. And now calls to settle things down for Coach Joe Haven, the Broncos. Something you mentioned Cold Spring Harbor might need to do, and this is really more of the Bronxville offensive game we've seen, settling things down and connecting the dots and getting everybody involved in the passing plays.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I wish Cold Spring had done on the other end, is just settled it a little bit. But we'll see if, they've plenty of game left. We still got 20 minutes, and this is still a high-tempo game, but they just got to get a little bit more settled.
Krasinski up top.
And Cold Spring Harbor is also in some sort of zone there, too, so those feeds from high to low are going to be really tough to make against a zone defense.
Another pick, this time Franny Donahue intercepting the pass. Megan Krasinski committing the foul. Another solid defensive showing by the Seahawks. Really a lot of work on that far side by number 17, Angelina Pavlakis. Holding it down. As a player goes down for the Seahawks right in front of their bench.
Yeah, and you want to move the ball in transition. Don't make your defenders or your middies work that hard. There was a couple open sticks. I thought she could have moved it earlier. Ball moves faster in the air than it does in your stick. So try to pick up the tempo in transition.
Dropped pass. Van Son was ready to charge down Main Street. Didn't have the ball in her pocket. There could be numbers here if the pass can find Torney. Instead, it's with Berkery. Gets it poked out again on the far side of the fan. None of the Broncos having any success over there just yet. But, well, this one's going to be called back for a foul.
Yep, there was a little push, so we're going to go to the dot.
Another touch pass inside, and once again, Soskin is equal to it. All the way out of her crease.
I mean, how fun is she to watch? and only a freshman, correct?
Only a freshman.
Yeah.
One of probably the better goalkeepers we've seen this weekend.
I mean, she's really just doing it all down in the defensive end for her team, and now her attack unit needs to reward that. So in lacrosse, we talk about, the offensive side, the defensive side, but you want to reward each other. So when your goalie comes up with a stop like that, now attack, reward it. Put the ball in the back of the net in the offensive end.
All right, Coach, take me through how the Seahawks are lining up right now. This looks a little bit different than usual. Well, it did until it was cut out.
Yeah, they called a timeout. Not sure at what point they called it, but they got bailed out by the coach. So, so I didn't quite see what they were trying to set up. It looks like after the timeout we'll be able to tell a little bit more. I think that they're just trying to set more cutters on the inside there, though, against Bronxville's backer defense. So we'll see what their coach writes up for them. But they were starting to look, I was going to say they were starting to look a little bit more settled and like they were going to take a deep breath, which is exactly what they need to do right now.
They get a chance to catch their breath with this timeout. We'll be back on the other side of the break on the NFHS Network.
The way we talk to boys can determine how they act as men.
Boys don't cry.
Even without meaning to, we can create shame around a natural response to pain.
Stop acting like a girl.
Reinforces sexist beliefs.
Be a man and take it.
We may not mean to, but we are encouraging male dominance and aggression. Gender stereotypes and sexism are the main cause of gender-based violence. It's time to change how we talk to boys about what it means to be a man. Start the conversation.
Back for the last 17 and a half minutes or so of lacrosse today from SUNY Cortland. It's Bronxville up 8-4 over Cold Spring Harbor. And Coach, we saw a couple early goals for the Seahawks that helped claim and reclaim the lead again, but they've really been drying up on offense as of late. What needs to change?
They got to catch first. I think they're trying to just get my mic fixed here. They've got to catch the ball and settle in. I think they're just trying to work it a lot quicker than their sticks and their bodies are moving. So they've just got to settle down, take that deep breath, as I said. And Bronxville is going to pressure them. So that's the one thing. They have to offensively anticipate that the defenders are going to come out. They're going to pressure the ball a little bit, and they've got to move it quick, especially against the zone. I said it at the beginning of the broadcast. Move the ball quick, move it in one direction, and then you find those looks inside when you find the cutter's backside.
So a chance to go back to the drawing board and regroup after the timeout. Coach Danielle Castelli was all the way out in the field ready for that one. And it looks like they have drawn something up here. Interesting formation on the other side of the fan. See if they make those quick passes, move it in one direction. Looks like a clockwise rotation.
So they set up a little stack play. They sent cutters through, and then someone was open from that stack. Here's that quick ball movement we've been talking about. They got to find that one more right there. Yep.
Just like they drew it up.
Yep. So much better job there. They stayed way more composed, and they're finding those open looks. I think previously maybe they had cutters going the same time, so it seems like their coach talked about the importance of sending one cut at a time so you pull those defenders. Great shot.
Simple as you like.
Bouncers will go.
And when you follow Coach Bevel's orders, there's not much that can go wrong.
I've been pretty good today. It's like I coach or something. I said it in the last game.
Yeah, you should do this full time.
I'm like, it looks like I coach. So, it's easy from up here though, right? We can see everything, and the adjustments on the field. And I had a lot of parents say that this year. They're like, it's so easy for us to see what needs to happen, but when you're down on eye level, it's a lot tougher to see the angles and what's open. So this has been kind of fun to do it from this point of view.
And the Cutters slice a chunk into that Bronxville lead. Now only 3 goals. Plenty of time to play, too.
And this is a big draw. I don't feel like Cold Spring Harbor has scored a goal and then won a draw yet. So see if they can come up with one here.
Didn't look like it at first or the second. Another kind of field hockey slap. Who's going to get it? Calling for the foul. And it's was immediately up in arms about it too.
Great job by Bronxville to switch fields there. So that's the ball started on our close sideline, and then they swung it over, then back to the middle. So that's a great way to break a ride.
So just Catherine Berkery, the junior, at X. Everybody else waiting patiently. Caricio has joined her at GLE. Hanging out near the dots. Everybody else way outside. Waiting for one of those drawn-up plays. If anyone's going to make a move. Krasinski starts to compress a little bit from the top of the formation.
We're working on 15 and a half left, and Bronxville's not going to stall, but I think Cold Spring needs to just show a little bit of pressure on the ball to make them activate their offense. Looks like we've got a shooting space call here.
I was going to say, Kiki Torney had been locked down all afternoon by Angelina Pavlakis, but that time got right up in that shooting space. Sends the senior to the hash. 8 meters away from goal number 9. Kiki Torney versus Maya Soskin. It's Torney driving in, and another big stop. Make that 2 back-to-back. Running out of words up here to describe this performance from Maya Soskin. Take a bow. The freshman is absolutely loving it today.
She is fun, and they just turned it back over, and I see her dad down there looking a little defeated. So fun connection. Maya Soskin's dad played for my dad when he was the coach at Colorado College. So lacrosse world is very small, and pretty cool that my dad is now having players who have kids that are playing lacrosse and playing at a really high level. But, Soskin's doing everything she can. Cold Spring Harbor's got to capitalize on the other end.
Make that another body stop for Soskin. And boy, for a freshman, you have to think she's got a pretty bright future ahead of her.
Well, and that's the fun part about all this, right? So this is the expectation for her. So just from a leadership standpoint, next year she's only a sophomore, but she's going to be on a team. She started in this game. This is the expectation, is that you get to the end of the season and you're playing in June. At the college level, we want to be playing at the end of May. For high school, you want to be playing in Cortland in June in the state tournament.
It's a rare mistake and a turnover. Kiki Torney tries to capitalize and does.
Yeah, we've said this a couple times. There's only so many shots a goalie can save. Cold Spring Harbor is having a little bit trouble clearing the ball. Again, I think they're just trying to rush things. They're excited that they're getting stops and that they've got the ball, but they got to transition it into their offensive end.
And something we saw earlier, too, in the Burnt Hills Manhasset game, where there was a solid goalkeeping performance, at least individually, but not a lot of help from the defenders. Coach Van used the term one on none.
Yeah.
Just to kind of express those, you can't save all of them.
Right.
Soskin is crying out for help in between the sticks. Nobody helping her out. Broncos continue to pile the goals on, looking for double digits with just about 14 minutes to go. Another draw control being fought for on the ground, then another one stopped with the intervention of the referees and turned over right away. Cold Spring Harbor was not ready for that.
Yeah, I think the Cold Spring Harbor player was trying to kind of flip it to her teammate. Didn't know that the whistle had been blown or started already, and Bronxville finds the back of the net again.
Kiki Torney has 3, and the Broncos have double digits. Took out a defender on the way, too. She don't care.
Yeah, and coach is upset over there for Cold Spring Harbor. It looks like we might have another timeout coming, but I think she's upset at that last draw situation. And it's tough because the rules have changed to add a self-start, and so some fouls are self-start, some are whistle, and the draw can get really confusing. So I totally understand her frustration, but I think that's also where I've been saying consistently today, just take a deep breath. If something happens, if the defense moves first, then it's a foul. So just wait until you're set up and then pick the ball up, get ready to go.
Ten to 5.
Beautiful draw control.
Quick chance on the break. Ty going all the way. Drops it once, but the rebound put home, but not before it's waved off.
Yeah, they had a flag. She did get hit there. I did like her. I did like the idea to pass that off. It was a great look. She will get center hash here, which is the best hash you could ask for as an attacker. So we'll see if she can find the back of the net here.
Ava Ty has been everywhere, but has yet to find the back of the net just yet. right down Main Street.
Oh.
And there was a piece of it as she went to uncork that.
Ava's got some speed. I'd like to see her take that one in a couple more steps before she shoots it.
Plenty of space up top for Van Son. Back to Ty. Switching the grip and forced back up top.
Great pressure by Blue. This is where, timing of those cuts. That should be Blue ball. Yep.
Great effort by Olivia Shinsato. The future Hoya off her line quick.
Yeah, so anytime you shoot on the offensive end, you want to make sure one of your teammates is behind goal line extended. That way, if you miss it, your teammate is closest to ball, and then you get possession back. So Tig needs to also, I mentioned on her free position, run it in. She's getting a lot of space. She's got to take that in, finish it right on top of the goalie. It's so much harder to save the shot when it's right on top of you rather than when it's further out.
And the Broncos sitting like ducks in a row at the top of that 12-meter fan, waiting patiently for the ball to work its way around from GLE. Torney wants it.
And I do like this. Cold Springs coming out. They're throwing some pressure on there. They're forcing them. I mean, they forced a shot right there and another great save. So I like what Cold Spring is doing defensively. They just need to capitalize. They've got to come up with any of these ground balls that are inside the 8. Try to spark a transition going the other way for themselves.
Here comes Krasinski. Was forced all the way out. Solid defense. My sister Megan.
Great check. Another good check right there.
Maybe third time's the charm for the Broncos. Drop pass behind cage for Berkery.
And off of those checks, those are the ground balls you need to have. So it's momentum killer when you get this great check and then you don't come up with it. And now Bronxville's going to get on the 8-meter hash here. We'll see if they take it or if they pull it out and use a little bit more clock.
Caroline Urcha on the hash. 8 meters away from goal number 11. Three more players lining up on the near side of the 8-meter arc. It's Urcha driving it herself and bouncing one through the 5-hole.
And that was a great shot. She had a great first step off the free position hash there. Bounce shot, tough for goalies to save, especially right there when they're coming in hard and they're hard to read.
Caroline Urcha's off the mark. The senior will be playing Ivy League lacrosse with the University of Pennsylvania.
So many talented players all day here. You got the Ivy League, ACC's represented. You've got a lot of great Division II programs as well. So just fun to see the talent. And I think every team has had multiple Division I commits, which is why they're all here.
Right.
You know, they're some of the best players in the state and in their sections, and so that's why they're here playing for a state championship.
Oh, it shocked me doing my research, just seeing how many names are going D1, D2.
Yep.
And it has certainly lived up to that. Been an action-packed day and only going to get better tomorrow. Make sure you keep it here on the NFHS Network for all the coverage from the Class A, B, C, and D state championship games. Just under 10 minutes to go in this one. Bronxville looking to punch their ticket for the 4th straight year. Molly Krasinski to Megan. Inside. Torney just couldn't keep it in the pocket to wind up the shot. Spilled right in front of the 8-meter arc and will bounce comfortably to Soskin.
All right, so Cold Spring's done this a couple times. They've gotten a good defensive set, caused turnover. Now they need to transition it, get it into their offensive end.
Jillian Will weathers the storm. All the way up from the back. Took the pass from Soskin and is now over the restraining line. Not without dropping it once, twice.
She's got to get that.
3 times.
Yeah, she's got to get that to a teammate. And she's frustrated because no one was coming out to help her. But this is why all players need to have a good stick and be comfortable switching hands. And, not just your attack and your midfield, because a lot of times defenders have to do that dirty work of transitioning the ball over into the offensive end.
Franny Donahue inside on the turn. How about the venom on that one? Hannah Van Sunstrike catches fire and catches the back of the net. It's a 5-goal game once again.
Great feed inside, nice finish, good patience.
Not the first time the junior's been on the score sheet today. Trying to will some life into this Seahawks side. 5 goals to make up, 8.5 minutes to do so. There's been crazier stories.
I mean, it's quick. We've seen both these teams score goals very quick off the draw. So, the next few draws are going to be big, and then we'll see. Bronxville's done, I think, a really great job of getting the ball down. They get everybody some touches, look like they're going to cage, and then they kind of pull it back out. So if they continue to do that, it's a great way to maintain their lead. But Cold Spring Harbor is going to start coming at them and throwing some pressure eventually.
Another draw goes up and comes back down. And Caroline Urcha uses her left foot to get it back into her pocket. Pass on the right shoulder is there. Inside. How about that stop? Maya Soskin, take a bow. This is an all-time semifinal performance from a freshman.
Yeah. She is keeping her team in this game right now.
And I'm sure there's more than a handful of college coaches in the audience or in the broadcast booth. That is a name to have on your sheet for the next couple years. Over to Finley. Back to Krasinski. Biding her time. Under 8 to go now. Finley starts the weave. Going to keep it herself. Thought about going to the center hash and draws contact right on the line.
I think there was a 3-second call before that. Cold Spring Harbor was in that 8-meter arc without being marked on a defender for 3 seconds. So we got a flag, puts Bronxville on the free position. I have a feeling she's going to pull this one out. Not a great hash.
That's exactly what she does. Coach's foresight for Urcha. Couple whistles go there, and it's going to be brought back. I think that's the first time, actually, on this field we've seen a 3-second violation today. Yeah. Not one of the more common calls.
Yep. A lot of times they happen when teams are in zones if people aren't shifting with the offensive players.
And nobody picks up Finley, and all you got to do is laugh because Maya Soskin just continues to amaze.
I mean, every time I think Bronxville's going to put another one away, Soskin comes up with a huge save. So a lot of fun to watch.
I mean, this could easily be a 21-6 game without Soskin in net.
Yeah. And this is where Cold Springs struggle a little bit, so they got to get their attackers involved a little bit more here to help transition the ball over. You can just see Cold Springs not very comfortable getting it over there with their defenders.
Great pass inside and finds the back of the net.
It's on the outside.
But the outside of it.
Yep, so that was a great look. She's got to take an extra second, get a little bit better angle on that.
I can understand how back of the net would be confusing in hindsight. That was a really tough angle, too. Was that really the right shooting decision there?
So she did switch her hands. She caught it lefty, switched to her right hand, but she still kind of brought it across her body. She needed to keep going at the cage. So I think I've said that a lot today in all the games is players, you don't want to settle for a shot. Take it all the way in, get an angle, get right on top of that goalie. Unless you're going to rip a shot, and you can hide the ball well, that's the only time, you're going to want to take that from further out. So I think they just got to do a little bit better job of getting their angles.
Carolina Urcha.
Yep, another shooting space call here.
Back to back, right at the center hash. Surprised Urcha didn't want her hat trick. Instead, maybe Krasinski can add another one to her tally today.
She's got a quick first step. It looks like she's going to take it in.
Takes one step and fires low. Behind the back. Somehow doesn't find the back of the net.
I think it went off the pipe.
The reaction time, incredible. Everyone stood still, including Maya Soskin, which is very hard to do. Wow. It really is fun to watch. Saved a good game for the last one on the docket. Ava Ty working against the grain. Up top for Van Son.
Oh.
Dropped inside and spilled all the way outside.
They're going to call hold here. We should see a free position shot.
It looks like Hannah Van Son will be staring down Main Street. You shoot this one, Coach?
You do. You know, she had it. She kind of bobbled it in there. I think you got to take this one.
She does, right at the body.
Yeah, not the shot. Again, you know, take one more step in that. I think that's the difference maker.
Under 4 minutes left. And now the Broncos looking for the nail in the coffin with Krestinsky.
Yeah, they're going to call timeout to talk about what they want to do. 3:36 on the clock. Really no reason to go to Cage. But again, Cold Spring Harbor, this is a state semifinal game. They're not just going to let Bronxville have it. So we'll see what Coach comes up with out of the timeout here, if they choose to stall or if they keep going to Cage.
So then if you're the Seahawks, do you try to force a quick turnover or do you settle in and just try to play good, solid defense?
It's hard to just settle without the shot clock. You know, at the college level, that's what we do now is we'll settle in with this much time because eventually it's going to come back. So I think with this, you've got to look for your double team opportunities. Best place to double team would be behind the cage and in the corners. We'll see. Soskin seems like a pretty active goalie. We'll see if they pull her out at all to mark up a low girl. Then they can send a double team and have everybody covered. So, you know, at just high school level, not totally sure what everyone's comfortable with. Every program's at a little bit different level and what they're comfortable and confident in doing. But you know, I know that they're going to play hard until the end. This has been an up-tempo game. A lot of athletes going to play at the next level here, so they're going to leave everything they have on the field.
Oh, they've got 3.5 minutes just about to do that. And a 5-goal deficit to make up for Cold Spring Harbor. Bronxville has only lost once on the year. And I'm sure there is nothing more that Broncos fans would want to get another shot at winning that Class D title.
And I believe the Skinny Atlas Pal Mac game is over. So I think that ended a little bit earlier. So the winner of this will see Skinny Atlas, which should be a great battle. Skinny Atlas is also no stranger to the state tournament, and looks like the two of them matched up back in 2017. So, and that was an overtime game. So, you know, I think they're both going to want to be back in that final, and they're both chasing a state championship here.
Well, some of the Syracuse students like him here are fortunate enough to call high school lacrosse in that area with Skinny Atlas and West Jenny and Fayetteville Manlius of Baldwinsville, and there's really a lot of talent out of there, so it should be a very good game.
Yeah, Skinny Atlas has Julia O'Connor going to UNC, Morrissey. She is headed to, can't remember off the top of my head, but another
still.
Division I commit. So just a lot of talent, as you mentioned, all over the field.
UNC commit too, defending national champions, right?
Exactly.
Not a bad deal. There are actually 4 Ivy League commits on the Bronxville Broncos. 2 for Penn and 2 for Columbia. First time I've said that name today.
Nice. Academic weapons as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes people forget you got to be good in the classroom to get into these schools. So Cold Spring Harbor leaves Soskin and Cage. They're definitely all pressed out, hard pressure. We'll see if they look to double team at all.
Staying really tight on their mark. That's a high shot on Berkery.
I'm surprised we didn't see a yellow card on that, but
yeah, it wasn't really. It was, you know, it was on.
Yeah.
Rachel Louie was kind of. She wasn't even marking her, right? She's reaching out, running against it. And the card stays in the pocket for now. Berkery now being hounded by Louis. Right at that restraining line. Uh-oh, here comes Krasinski with plenty of space. One-on-one. Dekes the keeper and somehow still can't find the back of the net.
I mean, this is a great chance for a quick double team here. I'm surprised we haven't seen Cold Spring Harbor go into one yet. I know you want to finish out the game and try to get the ball back, but usually double teaming is a good way to do that.
2.5 now. The Seahawks need a big stop against Molly Krasinski. Can they do it? She breaks free again. Winds up for the shot. Instead tries to pass to her sister, and it's broken up. Here comes Rachel Louie.
Yep, it's going to stay with White.
This could get interesting. 5 goals is a lot, but never say never.
Mm-hmm.
You said it earlier in this game. It only takes 10 seconds. And look how much space there is. Lots of green grass on offense. If there's one more pass available on the doorstep, and not quite.
Outside of the net again.
Saw that same exact shot find the same exact spot from the other side of the center hash. And that is a big miss.
That's a little bit of a dagger, I'd say. You work so hard to get it back there, and goes right to the outside of the net. There's going to be an extension, so the ball's going to stick with blue here. We've got 1:30 left. Oh, we got a timeout. Another timeout by Bronxville.
You like the decision to take a timeout there?
I do. I think just because whatever they had talked about before, they did turn the ball over. They tried to make a flat pass inside the 8 when everybody had crashed in. So I get this timeout call. I'd be frustrated if I was their coach as well. Not a time that you want to turn the ball over. And they've made very little mistakes this game. So there's always opportunity, even for teams that are winning games. There's always opportunities to learn, get better. I was saying the same thing with HFL in the game before this. You know, Fulton, I think, had the ball maybe a total of 10 minutes in the offensive end, but every time they had it in a transition, they were scoring goals. So there's always opportunities to get better. The turnaround is very quick. They're going to play tomorrow, so imagine some ice baths tonight, but you've got to learn, and you have to learn quickly. So Bronxville is calling a timeout. They're going to learn out of this timeout. They're going to hopefully, they could be in this case tomorrow too. And now that they've talked about it and they've practiced it, now they're going to feel a lot more confident in tomorrow's game if they end up in the same situation. So, I think everyone at home probably wants to see the game keep going. So, maybe they're not fans of this timeout, but totally understandable. On the flip side, it does give Cold Spring Harbor an opportunity to set up a double team or to set up something defensively. So, there's risk and reward with that.
And, well, if you're Bronxville, that reward looks sweeter than ever after back-to-back-to-back trips to Class D championship game. Their 4th consecutive on the horizon and looking very, very good. But it's all about battling against Skinny Atlas, a foe they haven't seen since 2017, in a 12-11 overtime heartbreaker for the Broncos faithful. And a chance for a rematch 5 years in the making. It'll start with Molly Krasinski on the near side alley, right at the tee.
Yep, so there's that double team I was talking about. Now they've pulled Soskin out.
Works it back around to the center.
So what you can actually do at the end in this situation is you can pull a goalie out to put another field player on the field. So Cold Spring Harbor actually has 8 defenders out there. That's why you see a constant double team, and they have no goalie in cage. So, I don't think Bronxville is going to take a shot here. I'm pretty sure that's what they just talked about in their timeout. Why take it and go back to the draw? But Cold Spring Harbor is going to have to commit to these double teams a little bit better here.
Some of the fans wanted Molly Krasinski to dispatch that into an empty net, but better safe than sorry with less than a minute to go. A date with destiny on the line. And the Broncos are going to be content to just run this one out.
Pick up.
Not the prettiest lacrosse ever, but when you got a state championship on the line, you got to do what you got to do, right?
And you don't see this a ton, but I actually don't hate the idea of going to your backfield. So sending this over past the restraining line to a defender. Defender can send it all the way down to the goalie. Now if Cold Spring Harbor, has to transition, it's not a bad idea to just throw this toward the 50 right now either.
Everybody checking the game clock. It's in single digits. The celebration is about to get started. And the Broncos have earned a shot at redemption. 5 years after an overtime heartbreaker to Skinny Atlas, they will take on the Lakers tomorrow for the Class D championship. From SUNY Cortland, it ends Bronxville 11, Cold Spring Harbor 6. And, Coach, it was really an excellent second half performance that made the difference for the Broncos.
Yeah, they were connecting all over the field today. They made some adjustments from earlier in the game when they were finding the feeds and not catching it, and then they just started to capitalize, take their time on their shots. They played a really tremendous game today.
Make sure you watch Coach Bevel and her Lemoyne Dolphins over on Fins TV. But that'll do it for us here on the NFHS Network from SUNY Cortland. For everyone else working behind the crew, my name is Philip Galati, and we will hopefully see you tomorrow for another action-packed day of State Finals Lacrosse. Have a great rest of your night.
And I got all Irish, Scottish, I'm excited to talk. Why? Not every day being rain, it's back in the UK. Right. Still fair. Look on the base of a hill and they think it's a lot of fog. And look at some s'mores today. Thanks, fly. I don't care. Shell out the money for pest control and I myself.
As the girls are gathering up their stuff and making their way this way, I would like to announce the 2022 Class D All-Tournament selection from today's game. It's going to number 30 from Cold Spring Harbor, Maya Sopkin.
That was pretty entertaining. Yeah.
Please, after you gather your stuff, we'll have you join us on this side of the field in the center as we present awards. Cold Spring Harbor, if we could have you come on over to this side, we'll take care of awards.
We're out.
Congratulations to Bronxville and Cold Spring Harbor on a well-played game and an outstanding season. Please direct your attention to the center of the field where the following individuals will be presenting today's award. The state coordinator, Liz Perry. From Section 1, Rebecca DeCito. And from Section 11, Jeremy Thode. Through a partnership with the American Dairy Association Northeast, the Athletic Association recognizes one student athlete from each team for a special sportsmanship award. The following players have been selected by their coach for consistently showing the positive sportsmanship traits that we expect from our student athletes. The Sportsmanship Award winner from Cold Spring Harbor is number 5, Franny Donahue. And the winner from Bronxville is number 8, Anna Becker. We'd like to congratulate Cold Spring Harbor on a tremendous season and all they achieved in reaching the state semifinals. Would the coach and team captains please come forward to receive their state semifinalist plaque? Come on, baby, let's hear it for them. Congratulations once again to Cold Spring Harbor for an outstanding season, and good luck to Bronxville, who advances to tomorrow's championship game right here at Stewart Portland at 4:30 p.m. Digital tickets are available now on the Athletic Association website or by visiting gofan.co/NYSPHSSA. Thank you for attending today's game. Have a great day and get home safely.